even works. We got one viewer. Incredible. We're live. We're live on YouTube too. So I don't know if you can like ask questions like in the old days. I'm not sure if Twitter works the same going live. I used to do this all the time, but we're getting so many questions about SpaceX and Tesla and should I buy it and this and that, valuations. So I wanted to go live and try to answer people's questions regarding what you should do about what I consider one of the more interesting and exciting IPOs in business history. But I'm not actually like seeing any text. Can you send me a message? If you're watching this, send me a message. Show me a sign of life. Because otherwise I don't know how I can answer questions if you can't actually ask them. Maybe I just can't see them. I know you're going to type something in. Can I see that? Ask for share. Ask. No, I don't. You should be able to send me questions. I don't see any questions. Maybe it's broken. I don't know. It says say something, like I can say something. Can somebody who's watching this like see if you can ask a question or comment? I don't see anything. All right, that's not very exciting though. Hey, listen to me. I'm going to type something in and see if it goes. Yeah, it works. Can you type in a message?
I just said hi, Ross.
I'm not seeing it. Oh, so maybe people are typing stuff in and it's just I can't see it. We haven't done this in a while. So it's like, I don't know why I can't see anything. Broadcast details. Ask for a follow. Ask for a share. Start sketching. I can sketch for y'all. I can't answer questions if I can't see the questions. Scroll for old comments. Okay. It's just me. I can only ask myself questions.
You can look at mine.
Oh, I can see it here. Okay, look at that. You don't need a phone. All right, we can see and hear you. Welcome back, dude. What's your price range to buy? All right, let's talk about what the price range to buy. So with SpaceX right now trading 175, it's moving around. You got to be patient here. You got a $2 trillion valuation. You got a stock that's got all the hype, all the talk, everything behind it right now. So you have the maximum potential buyers and the least amount of potential sellers. Supply and demand is how markets are made. And so right now you have ultimate amount of demand and you have a pretty decent amount of supply, but nothing like what you'll see in 6 months once the lockups. If the stock closes over 30% gain and it maintains that price for a period of time, the lockups are accelerated so you can sell stock quicker. So what you have to really think about if you're an investor is, obviously everybody wants to own SpaceX and probably for good reason. What are we willing to pay for it? What will trading look like in a year? And one of the things that was discussed in our meeting just this morning was the fact that how the market actually does has a lot to do with where SpaceX will be in a year. So if the market, doesn't really perform over the next 12 months, you'll have a much better opportunity to buy SpaceX. If the market just continues to rally like it's been for the next 12 months, it's very possible SpaceX just keeps going up. And that's why trying to do this is so hard. And when you're an individual investor, a retail investor, you get caught in this like cross current of like, you want to own a security and should I just like buy it? Or maybe I should just wait. So let me give you a strategy that could work for you if you really, really, really want to own SpaceX and you're like, oh man, should I just buy 1,000 shares and risk getting wiped out? No, don't do that. Buy a little today. If you want it, if you really need to have it, buy a little today. Let's say you're going to invest $10,000 for round numbers and you're like, I got to own the stock. If it keeps rallying, I'll jump off a bridge if I don't own the stock. Buy a little today, just a little. And so let's say, I do this with a lot of stocks that I buy because I feel like when I start taking a position in a stock, it always goes down. So like if I buy SpaceX right now, I'm sure it'll go down. And that's probably what will happen to you. So you tease it with a little buy. So if you're going to put in $10,000, put in $2,000 right now. You put in $2,000 right now and you're like, all right, if it rallies, I make a little money. Okay. But if it goes down, you got $8,000 more, you can buy the stock. And you do that either every week or once a month or once every 2 weeks. over a course of, let's say, the next 6 months or a year. And that's how you build your SpaceX position, because you got to think long term with SpaceX. It's not really like the kind of stock that's just going to be like, oh my God, profit, 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 like Nvidia. This is a stock where they're going to be investing a tremendous amount of money, really a tremendous amount of money over the next probably several years. And that payoff will be in year 5 through 10. So if you're buying SpaceX today, please, please accept that this is a 5 to 10 year investment. You should have, by no means, you should do anything like trying to take a lot of risk, trying to overtrade, trying to dive in and buy, as much as possible in options and paying premiums on options. These are all mistakes that will cost you money. So I do think investors should actually, own SpaceX. It's just like, how do we get it? And so dollar cost averaging, buy a little bit, spread it out over time. You feel fine. You own the stock. It goes up, you feel good. If it goes down, you feel good. If you just like lever into the stock right now, it's really binary. Like, it's got to go higher than 2 trillion for me to make money. And there's a very high likelihood I'll lose money. And so, please be smart about how you're doing this. I have to say. Let's get into questions if you have any. Let's see what comes up.
Your comments are limited, so you have to, like, in the settings allow it, or you just ask questions in the comment section. So like the live chat is not working, but the comment section is.
Do I have it like turned off? Is that?
I think it was,
I don't think I can go into like Twitter settings now.
yeah, I think so. Just go off the comments.
Where these comments here?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see any new ones on your phone. I don't know how your phone even works. This is the problem with the new Twitter, is just trying to figure out how it works. Because yours, okay. Is there any chance to get in? Here's one. Is there a chance to get it around $100 in the next 12 months? I'm like, yeah, sure. No, I mean, you don't really know what the stock is going to do. And that's, I think, the whole like concept. What I'm trying to tell you is it could be trading down at 100. It could be trading at 300. It's 175 right now. And all that, it might do both in the next 12 months. And that's what I'm saying. Having a strategy to buy over time is the only strategy that'll work with SpaceX, because like, making a binary decision, like today I buy it and that's the only time I buy it, then it either goes up or down from that point. And then what happens if it goes down, then you get all upset. And at a certain point you sell it right before it goes back up. So trading is like a counter emotional experience. When you're really excited and you want to buy, it's actually not a good sign. You actually don't want to buy when you're really excited and you want to buy. And I think that's the challenge that you have when everybody's talking about it. I mean, I have friends from high school like emailing me and calling me like it's some sort of free money that's just being given out and you didn't get any. Now, remember, the people who've made money at SpaceX have worked there and have worked for Elon for extremely long time and have gone through a lot of pain. None of this has been easy money for anybody who works at SpaceX. Probably one of the more intense work environments and really incredible work environments you can imagine, working literally. Some of these guys are working 18-hour days, flying to Texas, flying back. So all the money that's been made, the $1 trillion that have been made by employees or whatever it is, this is well-deserved money. They took, under compensation and took options and took risk in their career and work in a burnout type environment so that they could eventually have this moment. So I really, hats off to the SpaceX team. Elon gets a lot of credit for a lot of things and he is a visionary, but this is really about SpaceX and the team under Gwen Shotwell and the rest of that team that have done phenomenal in what they've built, not only with Starship and Falcon, but Starlink, and actually creating commercial projects here or products, on top of the fact that eventually they're going to put a whole layer of communication and data in space, which, whether you like it or not, is definitely the future and certainly an amazing opportunity. So if, I own SpaceX stock. So, just in full disclosure, I was lucky enough to get SpaceX as part of my Twitter deal when I invested in Twitter in 2022. So I've owned it technically for 4 years and I haven't been able to, realize any profit from that in 4 years. And I'm not planning on selling my SpaceX stock. So even though I'll have made a pretty good amount of money if it closes where it is today, it is not my intent to sell any of my SpaceX stock. And that's for a couple reasons. One in particular is I very much believe that space is the next frontier, and also for investing, and SpaceX will lead that and has a monopoly. And so I very much believe that in 10 years, it's very hard to predict what SpaceX will be doing, but I want to be a part of it. So that's why I'm going to keep my SpaceX stock. And then secondly, I hate paying taxes. So just for me to sell the stock just to pay taxes and buy what? So what am I going to buy more Micron? I got tons of Micron. So, there's no other stock that I would buy if I sold SpaceX. So that doesn't make any sense. So I think for most people, it makes sense for SpaceX to be in their portfolio at some point. And it's still not in my fund GK because obviously it went public today. I'm not going to add it to my fund until I feel like it might be opportune time. So, I'm kind of like, riding this boat right now. But I do think over the next couple of years, SpaceX will be doing lots of incredible things. So that said, when do I get in and at what price? And, if you're using traditional valuation metrics, you're never going to find a price that works for you. So if you run something like 20 times rev, you're at 500 billion. So that's the biggest number you're going to get. If you run traditional financial metrics, you'll get 500-600 billion. I think Morningstar came out with like a sell on SpaceX based off valuation. And that's why you don't listen to Morningstar. Morningstar is such a waste of energy and time because all they do is they do these financial calculations that any goofball who went to college can figure out. And then they go, oh, sell a stock because our numbers don't add up. Well, you're not factoring in a lot of things that you can't see with numbers. And one of the reasons I was so successful investing in Tesla with Elon back in the day was because I didn't care about the numbers that much. What I cared about was what they were doing and what those numbers might be if they succeed, not what their numbers are today. And that's the biggest mistake investors are making today, is they're worried about these numbers. Oh, the numbers, and what they're missing is what they can't see, what they don't know, and what the value of our space program really is. And so I'll give you some things that aren't in the numbers that you'll not see in the numbers is the value of our national security. So how important is protecting America as a valuation? Because SpaceX is one of the crucial companies in protecting America and continuing to aggressively grow our military defense in space. So what's the value of being able to knock out North Korean ICBMs because of SpaceX? Or what's the value of being able to win in a drone attack war against Russia or China because of SpaceX? So I don't know. I don't know if that's a PE kind of thing because it's like super valuable what the technology that has been built. So Starship, that technology is super valuable. So if we can bring large amounts of things into space at a reasonable price, it's a game changer. And that's what I'm trying to explain to people that the financial people just don't understand. And I keep hearing this, oh, my broker at Merrill keeps poo-pooing SpaceX and I want it. Screw that broker. Get away from that broker. They don't get the future because they're the past, actually. The last thing you want to do is ask somebody who lives in the past about what the future looks like. It's really a mistake. So you go ask your kids what they see the future and looks like. And space is very much a part of that lexicon, and for good reason. Now, granted, I grew up in the Star Wars era. So, I've always been fascinated with space, just like Elon, because we're the same age. And so we all grew up with space exploration as kind of being this fascinating things, whether it was Star Trek. I did watch a pretty decent amount of Star Trek. And of course, even to this day, still being a huge fan of Star Wars. Not so huge that I've seen The Mandalorian and Grogu yet, but my kids have. But I think that when you start imagining a future where space is accessible and what we can do with that, because I'm not a big believer that we're all going to go move and live in space. I'm not. But as a business opportunity, I think has huge potential, and especially around this data centers in space. And people love to poo-poo data centers in space. They just love it because it's just beyond their thought process. It's does not compute. I thought about it. No, doesn't compute. Well, you haven't hung out with a guy like Elon before, where nothing is out of the process. Nothing is impossible. And if nothing's impossible, why not do it? And that's the thing about Elon. If you can't show him like why the laws of physics will prove that this is impossible, then it's not a part of his world. He's like, well, then it can be done. And then we're going to do it. And so, once again, I'm not a huge fan of Elon, but I am a huge fan of what he has accomplished and what his potential is as a business person or as a engineer. Let's see if I can find any more. Why do people hate GameStop so much? Because it's a piece of crap. I mean, you haven't even gone to GameStop ever. It's like the GameStop people are still thinking it's 2021. And Ryan Cohen has some magical like wand because he like tries to buy eBay. Like Ryan Cohen's a joke, quite frankly. I don't know the guy, but like he's kind of soaked the GameStop people because he sold a lot of stock to the GameStop people when the stock was high, put the cash on the books, and now he's sitting there trying to use it to be some sort of Warren Buffett. But all he's proven is basically he doesn't know anything. So I don't know. Love is messed up. Bro, no comments. I know. I gotta like, I'll fix this the next time I do it.
I looked up how to do it. We can try and do it real quick on the while you're live.
Well, I gotta go to Bloomberg now. So it just doesn't matter. This was my time. So I'm flipping on to Bloomberg. I'll be on Bloomberg News in about 30 minutes, followed by BBC because I wouldn't want my English friends to miss out on all the fun, and then CNN as well in the afternoon. So the rest of the world can hear my wonderful thoughts. I see and hear you. Let's see. Remember you said, why so two-faced? An illegal immigrant doesn't understand fighting for freedom. Of course, his family has never defended the nation. Yes, Elon Musk does not understand what it is like to fight for freedom in the United States, unlike my family. And Elon Musk has made many decisions during the war in Ukraine that I was very unhappy with, which he reversed, like helping Russia. So yes, I very much do believe that Elon does not understand the contribution that many Americans have made to keep our country free. So I don't want to go into like my feelings on Elon versus what his potential is as an engineer, because I don't think it's relevant. He puts out a lot of information that creates the, negative discourse, but I prefer not to be a part of it because I just don't like see any value in it. I do see a lot of value in building businesses that go to space though, and it's much more exciting. Let's see. Yeah, I know. I screwed up my Twitter. I haven't done this in a while. Is Elon your friend now? No. Remember what I said. I say a lot of things too, by the way. And, if you take things that I said like years ago, it's not like current. So it's like, you can't just be like, oh, Ross, you said this 5 years ago. Yeah, I said a lot of things 5 years ago. I don't know. Some of them were right, like buy NVIDIA. My price range to buy, because the valuation doesn't make sense, it's really hard to say, like, where would I buy it? I mean, lower? So that's the problem. That's the problem. I don't know what the best price to buy is. All right. It's almost Bloomberg time. Any more questions? Yeah, I'll fix the comments before I do this next time. But it's nice to see we can get 800 people on here still. Sometimes I think Twitter is just like dead. It's like all just bots and stuff. I don't know what happened to it. And by some irony, I own, SpaceX stock from my Twitter investment with Elon. So, I'm pretty happy about that today because I thought I had lost all my money on Twitter and now somehow I've made 3 or 4x. So, so it's a good day for me. I'm happy. I have liquidity eventually. But as I said, I'm not going to sell my SpaceX. And I'll leave it at that. If you want to watch some more, I'll be on Bloomberg in about 10 minutes. And most importantly, be prudent with your money, get a financial advisor, reach out to Gerber Kawasaki if you need some financial help. We are great at what we do. We have a team of over 30 advisors that work with people of all ages, all wealth levels. We're unique in that way. And I think this is a very exciting time for investors and one that you want to participate in. And I don't think this is the end of the bull market. And I don't think this is the beginning of the end or any of that stuff. I think this is the beginning of the beginning. And I think if you're real smart and you play your cards right, the next few years could be very lucrative for many people in America. And best of all is I think there's a very high likelihood we're going to get a peace deal this afternoon after market close. I think this weekend Trump is trying to wrap this thing up so they don't get crushed in the election. And so that should be wildly bullish as we go into Monday. So I think this is a period of time you want to be long. I think something gets done. And so investors have this great opportunity between SpaceX IPO and then oil prices dropping, hopefully dramatically next week. We'll have a nice rally. And so it's a very good time to look at making investments. So hopefully we'll get this peace deal if Trump doesn't screw that up by prematurely talking about it, which is crazy, this guy. So, so good time to be an investor, stay long. And most importantly, follow me on Twitter and follow Gerber Kawasaki. Thanks.